Hi gardeners, today's video is all about repotting snake plant. Snake plants are wonderfully easy to grow and they're also very easy to repot. So let's get started. I just picked up this particular snake plant from the garden center. This one is called Black Coral. It's in just this little nursery pot. You can see it's already got a little baby offshoot coming out of the very side. It's stretching the pot over. I'd like to give this snake plant a little more width to grow, and I'd also like to get it into a pretty container. I'd like to have this snake plant and this indoor planter. Now this planter doesn't have a drainage hole. So it's an indoor planter, it's got nice little felt feet, but it doesn't drain. Planters like this are great at keeping water off the floor indoors, so that is perfect. But for a plant like this, it really does need excellent drainage. So I am gonna use this inside liner pot. It's just a plain nursery pot and it fits inside this planter and it's got tons of drainage holes. So I'll repot this into this bigger nursery plant and then I'll pop the whole thing into here. So just popping the snake plant into the new pot, I can see that I'm gonna need a few inches of soil below the existing plant. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just using a nice succulent potting soil. You can use any potting soil as long as it's a nice light mix. So the succulent, like the cactus and succulent ones, are quite nice. Now let's gently take the plant out of its pot. I can feel that there's a root right there, so I'll be gentle there, but I'm just gonna give the plastic pot a little bit of a squeeze. If it's in a terracotta pot or something, you might have to slip a little trowel in the side if it's really stuck in there. Okay. So here's the main part of the plant, but you can see that there's little shoots gonna come up, and here's a little baby coming off a side rhizome. It's got a few roots on this side, but it's not root bound at all. I'm gonna go ahead and just pop it right in to this pot. So where the stem meets the potting soil is about 1 inch below the top of the pot. So that's perfect, lots of room to water. Snake plants don't need terrifically deep pots. A shallow pot is fine as long as it's wide and it's got some room to grow. I know that I'll be repotting the snake plant again down the line as it kind of outgrows the width and pushes on the sides. Sometimes you actually have to even cut the plastic plants off. Now let's backfill in between the plant and the sides of the pot. I tend to just use my fingers to coax the soil down. You can see the nice bits of cocoa coir and perlite that make this soil mix so lightweight and perfect for a snake plant. I water most of my houseplants after I repot them, but snake plant, it's a succulent, it's very drought tolerant, it doesn't actually love a lot of water. So because the mix that was already in the existing pot was a little bit damp and there's a little bit of moisture in the potting mix that I use, I'm actually not going to water this right after I repot it. I'll wait a few days, maybe even up to a week. I'm also not going to fertilize it right after repotting it. I'm just going to let it get used to its new home with no more surprises. The last thing I'm going to do is just prop this nursery pot up a little bit. Even though I tried to find a shallower pot, this pot is still quite deep, so I have a little scrap of wood. I'm just going to put this in the bottom of the decor planter. That little block will just prop the visual level of the plant up a little bit and also hopefully help a little bit with drainage and make sure that it's not sitting in a puddle of water if I do accidentally overwater it. In general, I just take the whole pot out and take it to the sink, let it drain there and put it back, but the odd time I get a little bit lazy and just water it right in the pot. So that's an added benefit of propping it up a little bit. So there you go, that's how I go about repotting new snake plants from the garden center into nice bigger planters for indoors. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garden.